Hello everyone. Today we are going to study anti-anginal agents. So before starting anti-anginal agent, first we have to know what actually angina is. So angina or the angina pectoris, it is a temporary ischemia of myocardium. Means what? That is, in the angina pectoris, oxygen deficiency occur because of the coronary vessel constriction. Our coronary vessels, they get constrict, and because of that, blood from heart to the tissues or organs, it is get restricted. Means whatever amount of blood it is required for the tissues or for the organs, that much of the blood is not reached to that particular tissue or organ because of the vessel constriction. So the blood will not reach to the tissue or organ. Means what? Oxygen also does not reach to that tissue or organ. So the deficiency of oxygen occur because of the constriction of the coronary vessels. The primary cause of the angina pectoris is atherosclerosis. It is mentioned over here. So this is the atherosclerotic coronary artery and this is the healthy coronary artery. Now what is atherosclerosis? In atherosclerosis is what? That is increase in thickness of the wall of the coronary artery. So over here the thickness of the wall is increased. Now how it is increased? Because of the aggregation of platelet or because of some other reason. The thickness of the wall is get increased and hence the blood will not flow properly. So the atherosclerosis is the primary cause of the angina pectoris. Once atherosclerosis occur, then it lead to the vasospasm of the coronary artery. Means what? The vessels, blood vessels, they get constrict. The blood vessels of the coronary arteries, they get constrict. So that is called as a vasospasm. The primary symptom or the primary indication of the angina pectoris is the pain to the left shoulder. Generally, angina pectoris is occur by exertion or by the emotional stress. Also, breathlessness. The patient is suffering from the breathlessness. This angina pectoris, the duration of the angina pectoris is from 30 seconds to 30 minutes and it is relieved by the rest or by the nitroglycerin by the sublingual route. This is the first aid treatment of the angina pectoris. Now we will study the different types of the angina. Which are the different types of angina? So there are three types of angina. Classical angina, also called as the stable angina. Second one is unstable angina and the third one is variant angina. Classical angina, it is occur due to physical exertion or mental stress. In most of the cases, atherosclerotic coronary artery disease is also a contributing factor, and this classical angina is relieved by rest. The duration of this stable or classical angina is typically less than 5 minutes. Then the second one is the unstable angina. The attack or the unstable angina is accompanied by vasospasm. That is a constriction of the blood vessels, that is called as a vasospasm. Atherosclerotic coronary artery is prominent and again unstable angina is also relieved by rest and the duration of the unstable angina is up to 30 minutes. Then the next one is Prinzmetal's or the variant angina. This type of angina, it is seen at rest and usually it is occur in the morning. Vasospasm is the causative factor of this variant angina. This prinzmetal or variant angina is relieved by vasodilators such as nitroglycerin. Now, these are the three different types of the anti-anginal drugs, or these are three different classes of the anti-anginal agents. The first one is the organic nitrates, then second one is calcium channel blockers, and the third one is beta adrenergic blockers. So the first class is organic nitrates. They are also called as the nitrovasodilators. So these few are the examples of the organic nitrates or the nitrovasodilators. So we are going to discuss one by one. Before studying the drugs, first we will see the mechanism of action of these organic nitrates. Now these organic nitrates, they are sources of nitric oxide for body. Nitric oxide, also called as NO. It is represented as NO, nitric oxide. So the organic nitrate, they are the rich source of the nitric oxide for body. In cardiovascular system, nitric oxide is produced by vascular endothelial cells. So in cardiovascular system, this nitric oxide, it is produced by vascular endothelial cells. And these nitric oxide have function including first, relaxation of vascular smooth muscle, second, inhibition of platelet aggregation, and third, inhibition of leukocyte endothelial interactions. Means what? This nitric oxide have three functions. First one, it relaxes the vascular smooth muscle. Second one, it is acting as an antithrombotic agent. And the third one, it also acts as an anti-inflammatory agent. This is because this nitric oxide, it stimulates cyclic guanosine monophosphate by activating enzyme guanylate cyclase. So this guanylate cyclase activate cGMP dependent protein kinase, that phosphorylate myosin light chain kinase protein, which cause its inactivation and subsequent muscle relaxation. So this is the mechanism of action of the organic nitrates. A short-lived free radical gas, nitric oxide, it is widely distributed in the body and it plays an important role by its effect through cGMP on the vascular smooth muscle. It is synthesized in the vascular endothelial cell from semi-essential amino acid L-arginine by nitric oxide synthetase. After production in the cell, it diffuses to the smooth muscle cell where it activates the enzyme guanylate cyclase, which lead to increase in cGMP and thus muscle relaxation. Endothelium derived relaxing factor, that is EDRF, it is released from endothelial cell to mediate its smooth muscle relaxing properties through cGMP, is identical with nitric oxide. So this EDRF, that is the endothelium derived relaxing factor, which is released from endothelial cell, is also the same property of nitric oxide. Inhibitors of phosphodiesterases of CMP and cGMP also cause smooth muscle relaxation. These inhibitors increase cellular level of CMP and cGMP by preventing their hydrolysis to AMP and GMP respectively. Drugs such as papaverine, theophylline, and sildenafil, which relax smooth muscle, do so in part by inhibiting phosphodiesterases. Now regarding metabolism of nitrovasodilators, after oral administration, these organic nitrates are metabolized in the liver by the first pass metabolism by different enzymes. So first we will study The first drug, that is a amyl nitrite. It is also called as pentyl nitrite. Why it is called as pentyl nitrite? Because it contains 5 carbons in a straight chain, and this is the nitrite group. So simply pentyl nitrite. It is a mixture of isomeric amyl nitrite, but is principally isoamyl nitrite. It is prepared from amyl alcohol and nitrous acid by several procedures. Amyl nitrite, it is a yellowish liquid and having ethereal odor, and it is highly inflammable at room temperature. The sublingual preparation, it is rapidly absorbed from the sublingual, lingual and the buccal mucosa, and most commonly provides relief within 2 minutes. Amyl nitrite is by far the fastest acting preparation, with an onset of action is approximately 15 to 30 seconds, but the duration of action is approximately 1 minute. So if a person is suffering from the angina pectoris, so what is the duration of the angina pectoris? It is from 30 seconds to 30 minutes. So this amyl nitrite drug, it shows its action within 15 to 30 seconds, and its duration of action is approximately 1 minute. So it is rapidly acted on this angina pectoris disease. Then the second drug is isosorbide dinitrate. Isosorbide dinitrate, it is also called as 1,4,2,3,6 dianhydro diglucitol dinitrate. Isosorbide dinitrate as a sublingual or chewable tablet is effective in the treatment or prophylaxis of acute anginal attack. Generally, when it is given by sublingual route, it shows its action within 2 minutes, with a shorter duration of action than when it is given orally. Oral tablets are not effective in acute anginal episode. The onset of action, it is ranges from 15 to 30 minutes. The metabolism involves denitration to isosorbide 5-mononitrate. So one of the nitrate group is liberated, results in the formation of a metabolic product, that is isosorbide 5-mononitrate. The metabolite has a much longer half-life than the parent isosorbide dinitrate. As such, the particular metabolite is marketed in a tablet form that has excellent bioavailability with much less first-pass metabolism than isosorbide dinitrate. This drug is used as a long-acting agent and can be used to treat acute angina. Sublingually administered isosorbide dinitrate has a somewhat slower onset than glyceryl trinitrate, but its action can last for 4 to 6 hours. So its duration of action is so much, that is around 4 to 6 hours, the isosorbide dinitrate. Then the next drug is a pentaerythritol tetranitrate. The IUPAC nomenclature of the pentaerythritol tetranitrate is 2,2-bis hydroxymethyl 1,3-propanediol tetranitrate. How the IUPAC nomenclature comes? Now this is a straight chain, carbon number 1, carbon number 2, carbon number 3, or you can consider this as a straight chain 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so if we consider this 1, 2 and 3, so 2,2-bis. So this is the second carbon. So why 2,2-bis? Because there are two similar groups are present on the second carbon. So 2,2-bis hydroxy, here is presence of the oxygen, so it is considered as a hydroxy methyl. So these are the methyl. So 2,2-bis hydroxy methyl 1,3-propanediol. Now this hydroxy they consider as a diol. Remaining portion, that is a nitro group, so it is tetranitrate, as IUPAC nomenclature is 2,2-bis hydroxymethyl 1,3-propanediol tetranitrate. Now this pentaerythritol tetranitrate is a nitric acid ester of tetrahydric alcohol pentaerythritol and is a powerful explosive. Accordingly, it is diluted with lactose, mannitol, or other suitable inert diluents to permit safe handling. This drug relaxes smooth muscle of smaller vessels in the coronary vascular tree. This drug is used prophylactically to reduce the severity and frequency of angina attacks and is usually administered in sustained release preparation to increase its duration of action. Now, the next class is calcium channel blockers. As we know, the calcium channels, as we know, the actin myosin tension generating system. What we have studied in the actin myosin tension generating system, that is, calcium induces the vascular contraction by binding of calcium to a troponin protein, and thereby it induces the vascular contraction or the muscle contraction, right? So what actually calcium channel is made up of? So this calcium channel is made up of different subunits, that is the alpha 1, alpha 2, beta, gamma and delta subunit. And particularly, these calcium ions transfers into the cell membrane through alpha 1 subunit. So there are 4 types of calcium channels which differ in location and function. The first subtype of calcium channel is L type, which is located in skeletal, cardiac and smooth muscles, causing contraction of muscle cells. Second one, T type, which is found in pacemaker cells, causing calcium entry, and it is inactivated at more negative potential and more rapidly than the L type. Then N type, it is found in neurons and acting in transmitter release. And the last one is the P type, which is located in Purkinje cells, but whose function is unknown at this time. So these calcium channel blockers, they particularly act on the L-type calcium channel to produce their pharmacological effect. So L-type calcium channel, it is located in skeletal, cardiac and the smooth muscle. The L-type calcium channel are so called because once the membrane has been depolarized, their action is long lasting. Once the membrane is depolarized, the L channel must be phosphorylated to open. So during the depolarization phase, the L channel are get phosphorylated to open the calcium channel, to open the L type of the calcium channel. Although there are some similarities between L type calcium channel which is exist in the cardiac and the smooth muscle, but there are little bit differences between the two. Now, which are the differences? That is the differences by the activation of the L-type calcium channel. So the cardiac L channel, it is activated through beta adrenergic stimulation via CMP dependent phosphorylation process. Whereas the L channel in the smooth muscle, it is regulated by the inositol phosphate system linked to G protein coupled receptor link phospholipase C activation. So this is the difference of the activation of the calcium L channels. Now this is the classification of the calcium channel blockers. The calcium channel blockers are further subclassified into the 3 different subclasses. And these 3 different subclasses are further subclassified into the 2 generations. So the first subclass is the phenylalkylamines, which is further subclassified into the verapamil and the piperidine. Verapamil come under the first generation, whereas piperidine come under the second generation. Then the second subclass is the 1,4-dihydropyridine, which come under the first generation nifedipine. And the third subclass is the benzothiazepine, and the drug is diltiazem, which come under the first generation subclass. So we are going to discuss one by one. Now before discussing this drug, first we have to know that when this drug bind to the calcium channel. Now the verapamil and the diltiazem. Now in general, whatever the calcium channel, whatever the channels, but particularly we are talking about the calcium channels. Now these channels generally exist in three phases, that is the open phase, resting phase and the inactivated phase. Now the drug verapamil and the diltiazem, it do not bind to a channel in the resting state, only after the channel has been opened. So the verapamil and diltiazem drug, they bind to the calcium channel when the channel is open. They are the ionized drug and water-soluble calcium entry blockers which reach their binding site by the hydrophilic pathway when the channel is open. Now nifedipine is a neutral molecule at physiological pH and cause interference with the calcium in the open or closed state. So this nifedipine drug, it binds to the calcium channel. Either the calcium channel is in open state or it is in closed state. Now we are going to discuss the first drug, that is the verapamil, which come under the class of the phenyl alkyl amines. So before that we will study the IUPAC nomenclature of the verapamil. So this is the structure of the verapamil. Now this verapamil drug, it contains a functional group called as a cyano. So there are 5 carbons in a straight chain, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And there are 2 phenyl ring which is present at the terminal ends. So we'll start our nomenclature from the second carbon. So 2 dash 3 4 dimethoxyphenyl, then 5 dash 1 2 3 4 5 5 dash, then 2 dash 3 4 dimethoxyphenyl, ethyl methyl amino, then again 2 dash propan 2YL, pentane nitrile. How many carbons are there in a straight chain? That is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at last it is pentane nitrile. So this is the IUPAC nomenclature of the verapamil. So verapamil is a coronary vasodilator and is a prototype of the calcium antagonist used in cardiovascular diseases. It is used in the treatment of angina pectoris, arrhythmias from ischemic myocardial syndromes and the supraventricular arrhythmias. Now this verapamil is having major effect on the slow calcium channel, and once it shows its action on the slow calcium channel, then thereby it slow down the AV conduction and thereby the sinus rate. This verapamil drug, it is separated into its optically active isomers, of which levorotatory enantiomer is the most potent when it is compared with the dextrorotatory enantiomer. Regarding the metabolism, it is metabolized in the liver. The first metabolic product is the N-dealkylation. So this methyl group is liberated, followed by O-demethylation. One of the methyl group which is attached to the oxygen is get liberated, and then conjugation. Either it is sulfate conjugation or the glucuronate conjugation. So these are the metabolic product of the verapamil. Then the second drug is the Bepredil. Now this is the structure of the Bepredil. Now Bepredil, there is a aniline group is present. So start with the nitrogen of the aniline, as there is a amino as a functional group. So N-benzyl, then again N dash, 3 dash, Then after 3 dash, 2 methyl. Here are 3 carbons in a straight chain. 1, 2, 3. So 2 methyl, 3 carbon and oxygen. So it is called as a propoxy. So after 3 dash, 2 methyl propoxy. Then again 2 dash, pyrrolidine 1YL. Why 1YL? Because this pyrrolidine ring is attached to this substituent at the first position of the pyrrolidine. Hence pyrrolidine 1YL. Propyl, remaining portion, that is a aniline. So bepridyl is a second generation phenylalkylamine which is used as a calcium channel blocker. Its action are less specific when it is compared with the verapamil, diltiazem and the nifedipine. In addition, as a calcium channel blocker, it also inhibits the sodium flow into the heart tissue and it lengthens the cardiac repolarization, causing bradycardia. Caution is taken if it is given to patient with the hypokalemia. So this is what about the bepridyl. Now the next class is the benzothiazepines. This is the second class. The first class was phenylalkylamine. Now the second class is benzothiazepines. As the name suggests, it contains the azepine ring, thiazepine ring, and this is the phenyl or benzo group. So benzothiazepine. Okay. So the name suggests the structure of the compound. So there is a one drug called as a diltiazem. So this is the structure of the diltiazem. Now in the diltiazem structure, there is a acetate as a functional group. So this is the highest priority functional group. So we'll start the numbering of these diltiazem. So numbering start from the sulfur. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As per alphabetical order, we have to while nomenclating the IUPAC nomenclature, we have to follow the alphabetical order, and hence we start from this 5th position because it contains the amino, that is dimethyl amino. Okay. So 5 dash, 2 dash, dimethyl amino ethyl, then 2 dash, 4 methoxyphenyl, 4 oxo, 2, 3, 4, 5 tetrahydro. Why here tetrahydro is mentioned? Because the azepine ring contains double bonds. As these double bonds are missed in this structure, hence we will nomenclate it as a 2, 3, 4, 5 tetrahydro 1, 5 benzothiazepine 3YL acetate. So this is the IUPAC nomenclature of the diltiazem. Now this drug increases myocardial oxygen supply by relieving coronary artery spasm and reduces myocardial oxygen demand by decreasing heart rate and reducing overload. Diltiazem is used in patients with variant angina. The drug has electrophysiological properties similar to those of verapamil and is used in the treatment condition as an antiarrhythmic agent, but it is less potent. This drug is absorbed rapidly and almost completely from the digestive tract. It reaches peak plasma level within 1 hour after administration in gelatin capsules. Also, this diltiazem drug is prepared in its sustained release formulation to increase its duration of action to 3 to 4 hours. This drug, diltiazem drug, is metabolized by the first pass metabolism. Its metabolites are, that is a deacetylation. So here the metabolic are mentioned. The first active metabolic product of the diltiazem is D-acetyl diltiazem, in which acetyl group is removed to form D-acetyl diltiazem. Then later on few other metabolic products are also formed by OD methylation, then by N dealkylation. It results in the formation of this kind of the metabolic product. But D-acetyl diltiazem is the active metabolic product of the diltiazem. Then we'll study our next class, that is a 1,4-dihydropyrimidine. So this is the basic structure of 1,4-DHP. Okay, this is the basic structure of the 1,4-DHP, and these are the substitutions of different 1,4-DHP. So we are going to study one by one. So before studying this drug, first we will consider the structural activity relationship. So the first SR point is that a substituted phenyl ring at the carbon number 4 position of the 1,4-DHP, it is mandatory. Okay, so phenyl ring, but that phenyl ring should be substituted. It is mandatory. The heteroaromatic ring, such as pyridine, produce similar therapeutic effect but are not used because of observed animal toxicity. And the C4 substitution with small non-planar alkyl or cycloalkyl group decreases the activity. Okay, so if we replace this phenyl ring with some non-planar alkyl or cycloalkyl group, then it decreases the activity. So we want a phenyl ring at this C4 position, and that phenyl ring should be substituted. Then the second point of ACR is phenyl ring substitution is important for size and position rather than for electronic nature. Now the substitution should be at either ortho or at meta position. But if substitution is present at the para position, then the activity is get decreased. Now the commercially available 1,4-DHP, they are having the electron withdrawing ortho or meta substituent. But this is not prerequisite. The compounds with the electron donating group also shows good activity. The importance of the ortho and the meta position is that it provides sufficient bulk to the structure and it properly lock into its proper conformation to the site which is present on the calcium receptor, and thereby it shows its action. So that is the significance of the substituents which is present at the ortho or the meta position of the 1,4-DHP. Then the third point is 1,4-DHP ring is essential for the activity. If we substitute this ring by either piperidine or the pyridine ring, then it greatly decreases the activity. So the 1,4-DHP ring is mandatory. Then the ester group at carbon number 3 at carbon number 5 position optimizes the activity. If we replace this ester group with other electron withdrawing group, then the activity is get decreased. Okay, for example, the replacement of C3 ester of isradipine with NO2 group, it produces a calcium channel activator or agonist instead of the calcium channel blocker. So thus if we want the antagonism effect, then there should be a ester group at carbon number 3 and carbon number 5. Now when the esters at carbon number 3 and carbon number 5, when they are non-identical, then the carbon number 4 become chiral, and the stereoselectivity between the enantiomer is observed. Additionally, evidence suggests that C3 and C5 position of dihydropyridine ring are not equivalent position. Crystal structure of nifedipine, a symmetrical 1,4-DHP, shows that C3 carbonyl is syn-planar to the carbon number 2 and carbon number 3 bond. Here it is mentioned in the figure. So this is the structure of the nifedipine. Now if we see this carbonyl group, it is syn-planar to the to the double bond which is present in between carbon number 2 and carbon number 3. Whereas if we consider the carbonyl group which is present at carbon number 5, it is antiplanar to the double bond which is present in between carbon number 5 and carbon number 6. A symmetrical compound have shown enhanced selectivity for specific blood vessels and are being preferentially developed. Nifedipine, the first 1,4-DHP to be marketed, is the only symmetrical compound in this chemical class. With the exception of amlodipine, all 1,4-DHP have carbon number 2 and carbon number 6 methyl group. Okay, so except amlodipine, all 1,4-DHP are having methyl group at carbon number 2 and carbon number 6 position. The enhanced potency of amlodipine suggests that 1,4-DHP receptor can tolerate larger substituent at this position, and that enhanced activity can be obtained by altering these groups. So this is what happened. If we replace the ester group, one of the ester group at carbon number 3 or at carbon number 5 by another electron withdrawing groups like a nitro group, then it acts as a calcium channel activator instead of showing the blocking effect. And this is what happens if we oxidize this 1,4-DHP ring. If we oxidize this 1,4-DHP ring, then it results in the formation of the pyridine ring. This pyridine ring is inactive, or this structure is inactive. So there is only one drug in this 1,4-DHP, that is the nifedipine. So this is the structure of the nifedipine. Now we'll see the IUPAC nomenclature of the nifedipine. Now here is the ester as a functional group. Okay, so how we nominate the ester? That is the alkyl alkanoate. So which is the alkyl groups are there? That is these methyl groups are there. So first we nominate the alkyl group. So alkyl groups are present at carbon number 3 and carbon number 5 position. So 3,5-dimethyl, then 2,6-dimethyl, 4-2-nitrophenyl. Then the name of this ring, that is a 1,4-dihydropyridine, 3,5-dicarboxylate. So this is the IUPAC nomenclature of the nifedipine. Now in this structure, position 2 and 6, they are substituted with an alkyl group that play a role in the agent's duration of action. Means what? If we substitute the second and the sixth position with the other alkyl group, then it may affect the duration of action of the nifedipine drug. In addition, position 3 and 5, they are the carboxylic group, but they are protected with the ester functional group. Depending on the type of the ester which is used at this site, the agent is distributed to various parts of the body. Finally, position 4, it requires the aromatic substitution, and this aromatic ring should be substituted either by ortho position or by the meta position with the electron withdrawing group. This nifedipine is more effective in patients whose anginal episodes are caused by coronary vasospasm and is used in the treatment of vasospastic angina as well as classic angina pectoris. Because of its strong vasodilatory properties, it is used in selected patients to treat hypertension. Now this is what about the metabolism of the nifedipine. The first metabolic product is the O demethylation, then hydroxylation, and then by the ring closure oxidation. So these all the metabolic products are the inactive. Then our last class is the miscellaneous coronary vasodilators. There is only one drug. The name of the drug is dipyridamole. Now first we'll see the IUPAC nomenclature of the dipyridamole. Now here it contains alcoholic functional group. So to this side and to this side, all these four aliphatic chains, they are same. So we'll start from one of these aliphatic chains. So we'll start with this. So carbon number 1, carbon number 2. So 2 dash, 6 dash, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 dash, bis. Now why we call it as bis? Because both the aliphatic chains are same. So after 6 dash, bis, 2 hydroxyethyl, bis, 2 hydroxyethyl amino, 4,8 bis. Again both the rings are same, hence again we nominate it as a bis, 4,8 bis, piperidine 1YL. Again why 1YL? Because these rings are attached to this basic pharmacophore at the first position, hence piperidine 1YL. 1,3-diazynopyrimidine 2YL, 2-hydroxy ethyl amino, a remaining portion, this is ethanol. So this is the IUPAC nomenclature of the dipyridamole. Now this dipyridamole is a long-acting vasodilator. Its vasodilating action is selective for the coronary system and it is indicated for the long-term therapy of chronic angina pectoris. This drug, dipyridamole drug, also inhibit one enzyme called as the adenosine deaminase and interfere with the uptake of the vasodilator adenosine by the erythrocyte. This adenosine, it is a natural vasodilator released by the myocardium. This action potentiates the effect of prostacyclin, that is a PGI2, which act as an inhibitor of the platelet aggregation. Its biggest use today, however, is an antithrombotic in patients with prosthetic heart valves. So this drug, dipyridamole drug, most probably is used as an antithrombotic agent. Regarding the synthesis of dipyridamole, the dipyridamole is synthesized from 5-nitroorotic acid. So this is the 5-nitroorotic acid. This 5-nitroorotic acid is obtained by nitration of 2,4-dihydroxy-6-methylpyrimidine. Okay, this 5-nitroorotic acid by various reducing agent gives 5-aminoorotic acid. So this 5-nitroorotic acid by reduction, it results in the formation of 5-aminoorotic acid. Further, this 5-aminoorotic acid, it is reacted with the urea or the potassium cyanide, but here in this reaction it is mentioned as the urea, results in the formation of 2,4,6,8 tetrahydroxy pyrimidopyrimidine. Okay, when we react this 5-aminoorotic acid with urea, then a ring closure takes place and results in the formation of 2,4,6,8 tetrahydroxy pyrimidopyrimidine. Then this one is reacted with the phosphorus oxychloride or the phosphorus pentachloride, which add chlorine which add a chlorine to this hydroxy group. Means hydroxy group is replaced by this chlorine, results in the formation of 2,4,6,8 tetrachloropyrimidopyrimidine. Then this tetrachloride is further react with the piperidine, and this piperidine replaces two chlorine atom generally at position carbon number 4 and carbon number 8 of this heterocyclic system, giving 2,6 dichloro pyrimido 4,8 dipiperidinopyrimidine. Then now if this intermediate is treated with the diethanolamine, which gives our final product, that is the diaperidamole. Of course, we have to treat this intermediate with the diethanolamine because our structure, diaperidamole structure, it contains this ethyl hydroxy group or hydroxy ethyl group, right? And hence we have to react this intermediate with the diethanolamine structure or the catalyst to give our final product, that is the diaperidamole.